Hey, running friends. Welcome to the Wrinkled Runner podcast. I'm Sherry, the Wrinkled Runner. I'm over 50 and I love to run wherever I go, but Buffalo, New York is my home. If you are looking to start to run or you're an older runner, this podcast is especially for you, so subscribe now. I love to help people get running and keep running. So today we're going to talk about something that I've referred to in the past and have talked about, which is the Conqueror Challenges. And this is a virtual race, but it's a race that you're running against yourself. It's not on a particular day or a particular time. You pick your challenge and you get a medal at the end of it. The medals are really cool. A lot of times I like to use it if I'm base building before marathon training. I'll pick how many miles that I want to cover before I start the actual training. So for example, in January, I had taken a little bit of time off and was going to be running the Buffalo Marathon, which I deferred till next year because our weather was so bad. It was all ice all the time. But before that happened, I was going to pick that I wanted to be up to 30 miles a week by the end of my base training as I went into marathon training. So I kind of worked it out and figured out what my runs were going to be, what each mileage was going to be, and then went to this Conqueror Challenges site and picked a challenge that covered the miles that I wanted to cover, and then had the date that I was going to end my base training on as the date for when this was completed. So you may have done virtual races before or other virtual fitness challenges, and this is along the same lines, but like I said, this is against yourself. And so if you're not somebody who's big into racing or big into like having to run something in a certain, you've got, a lot of times you have like 3 or 4 days to run a virtual marathon or half marathon or whatever race is, also doing it virtually. I've never done a virtual race as far as like an actual event like a marathon or a 5K. I've only done these challenges virtually, which they're not really races. So anyway, in this particular virtual challenge, this allows you to travel famous routes around the world. So for example, I did the base of Mount Fuji as one of my challenges because I lived in Japan for a few years, so that meant something to me. I did the road to Hana, which is in Hawaii, because I've driven on that road before. It allows you to either pick something that you know and love, or pick some place that you haven't been before. And so you're going to log your miles by running, walking, cycling, swimming, anything that covers a distance. This challenge actually will allow you to use. And a lot of your fitness trackers will automatically upload your information to the app that you use for these Conqueror Challenges. So I have a Garmin watch. I also have an Apple Watch. When I was doing it in January and the winter was starting to get really, really bad, I also logged some cycling miles on my spin bike and had that upload as well to this Conqueror Challenge. So the goal is to cover the distance of the chosen route, which they let you know, and this is in a self-set time frame. So you pick what you think you're going to be able to complete this challenge in. And it doesn't really matter. Like, I took a lot longer to complete it because it was just so icy. I couldn't really get out for runs. So I went for probably 2 weeks over what I had said that my goal was going to be. So it's more of a self-imposed goal. But if challenges are something that you like to do, then I would say pick something that's a little bit challenging, but of course very doable for you in order to get this medal. They're really, really nice medals, and they show you a picture of them with each challenge on the website. And you can pick to do like maybe 2 challenges. Some people will pick like a 20-mile challenge or a 36-mile challenge, and it corresponds to whatever it is that you are running. So I don't quite remember what the base of Mount Fuji, the mileage was, but it's the actual base of Mount Fuji. And so they're going to send you virtual postcards in your emails of where you kind of are on the map based on how many miles you've run. So whatever's like 5 miles from the start line, they're going to send you a virtual postcard about what's around there. And then pictures and things like that. So it's really cool. It's really fun. It's a good way to learn about something around the world. If you pick a challenge of an area that you don't know, and the finishing medals that you get, they come really quick. Like I always get mine within a week. So it's a very legit, very cool challenge. And then if someone's doing a smaller challenge, they can also do like a really big challenge like the Pacific Trail. And so people will do both kinds of things at once. And you can apply your miles to both things. So, if you run a 5 mile, that will apply to the smaller challenge, and that can also apply to the bigger challenge, which might take you a year, 2 years. It depends on how big that bigger challenge is that you pick. Also within the app, they do either tree planting or they do getting plastic bottles out of the ocean also for some of the challenges. So I think it's every 20% that you cover. That's what they do. They plant the tree or they recycle the bottles or get the bottles out of the ocean. So you're also having an environmental impact along with being able to complete a challenge. And also, it helps with motivation that you have accountability. Yes, it's self-imposed, but still, if you have something written down or something like this app that everything is uploading to, it can give you that extra little push to get out there and get those miles in as you see yourself kind of moving along. And other people who are doing the challenge, you're going to see their little avatar on the thing, even though you're not actually racing against them. But you'll still see yourself moving forward and moving along on the little map that they have in the app. And so, when you get to the end of it and they send you your medal, it's just a real cool reminder and a real cool motivator, and tells you that goal that you had was something that you completed. So I love telling people who don't actually like to race that they can get a medal. You can also pay a little bit more to get a t-shirt as well. I usually don't do that. I have enough t-shirts, but I do like to get the medal. So if you find yourself needing this motivation, this is one way that you can have a goal that is sort of a race, but not really, but it can encourage you to get out there and do the run, get the miles in, add an extra day, those kinds of things. If you find that you're somebody who maybe doesn't have the discipline yet to roll out of bed and just just go out for a run just because. Some people need to have these end goals, and this is one way to do it. That's actually a lot of fun. And if you have to break down a bigger goal, for example, if you are going to be marathon training or half marathon training and you do need to base build, like I said earlier, this is just one way that I really like to get out there and do it, because I'm not quite into the training yet, but I do need to make sure that I hit a certain level of mileage per week before I jump into marathon training. Especially now that I'm older, I'm finding that I'm having a lot more issues with injuries and things that are hurting. And so I'm not able to just jump right in like I used to be able to do if I took a few weeks off or a month off. So this really helps me to get into that mindset and develop the discipline I'm going to need for that training by doing something fun, doing something that gives me a little reward at the end of it, and just kind of breaks up the monotony of this base training idea if you do longer distances. Beyond the medal, beyond, just this reward that you get at the end, this is actually a really good way to develop consistency in your running. If something like this, they call it gamification, appeals to you. So my husband and I and my granddaughter and my daughter and one of my sons, we are doing Duolingo. So if you've ever done Duolingo, you're practicing a language, but it's all about the gamification. It's all about points. You get bonus points, you get all this stuff. That doesn't really motivate me. And so I just kind of do 1 or 2 lessons a day just because I'm in this group. And so I don't want to disappoint my granddaughter. But my husband is heavy into gamification. So I'm always hearing this Duolingo going on, and then he gets like other XP, and then they'll give him, oh, you've got 30 minutes of free XP or whatever. And so he'll do it. So it can get kind of annoying. Like I'll hear this bring that happens when you get something correct. And I'll hear it for long stretches of time because he just loves the gamification. So if something like that is appealing to you, then this also can kind of be in that category because you are watching yourself on the map go forward. You're watching your progress. It will tell you what percentage you are at in towards completion, and you get these little postcards and little rewards. So it can help with consistency, because if you really want to see yourself moving along and you really want to hit that goal, whatever date that you put for your end goal, then maybe you are going to go for that run on Tuesday when if you didn't have anything, you wouldn't necessarily go because you're tired or, whatever. We come up with all kinds of excuses, but whatever the thing is that's holding you back from being consistent, this can help with that. It's also variety, which I like variety. Again, there's a difference between my husband and I. He knows the route for his 3-miler and his 5-miler and his 6-miler. He might have a second route depending on if it's in the wintertime. We do not run towards the water. But basically, I have to really steer him away from running the same thing every time, where I will run a different route all the time because I really like variety. And so these challenges, because there's so many of them, so many different areas around the world that you can pick to do and different mileages, I mean, you could be virtually running these challenges all the time if you wanted to, and just pick something different once you reached the last goal, once you got the last medal, pick something else and run that one. So if you like variety, this also can really help with that. It's also great for people, like I said, who don't race. If you do race, it's also great. But if you don't race, this kind of gives you accessibility to what racing is like without having to drive to the race, the logistics of getting your bib, having a specific date that you have to be there. This kind of gives you an idea of what racing is without actually having to have all those details that races entail in with the mix. It's super easy. You sign up online and you're in. You download the app, you're in. Make sure if you're going to choose a challenge that you pick a distance that's challenging but also achievable for your current fitness level. So you could go from 20 miles to thousands of miles, like I said. If you're a beginner runner, the 20-mile ones are like in that frame would be a really good mileage for you to start with. But just remember that whatever your current fitness level is, that's what you need to be looking at as far as what the challenge should be. Something that is going to encourage you and not discourage you. So it's pretty easy once you get the app and you have picked your challenge to sync up your whatever you're using to sync up. And they just take you through it step by step. Once you do it once, like I haven't done a challenge since January. If I do it again, then it just will automatically do it. It's super easy. So you don't have to reset it up every time. Your Garmin or your Apple Watch will just automatically, once you have that app going, you'll be able to select it and then it will just automatically do it. So if you're doing challenge after challenge after challenge, you only have to do that process once. You can also do a manual entry if you don't have something like that. And just make sure you're being honest. There's no point in saying you ran 6 miles if you ran four, that this is just on you. It's not a race. Nobody else is probably seeing it except for maybe the people around you on the app, their little avatars, and you don't know them. So just be honest if you're going to do it manually. If you like to do other things besides running, you can make sure to mix it up with this challenge. So if you are doing a cycling class or a spin class, or you bike, or you go for a walk, or you're running, or you swim, make sure that you upload it to the app, because it all counts. It can help you to get that cardio in whether you're running or not. If you're nursing an injury and running is non-existent, but you can walk, do it for walking. Obviously, in the show notes, I will send you the link to the Conqueror Challenges so that you can see what it's about. I would love to hear about your own experiences if you do these. So you can send me an email. If you do them, go to the Facebook page, let me know that what you picked, what your goal is. That way I can encourage you to keep on going, get that medal, and then, send me a pic of the medal that you get, because they are so pretty. And I can't remember how many I have, but I have a long way to go before I get all of them. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you know another runner who could benefit from today's topic, go ahead and share it. Do you have any running questions? You can ask me. Email me at sherry@wrinkledrunner.com, and if I can't answer your question, I will do the research to find the answer and share it with you. The questions I get from listeners like you help me develop episodes, so please don't be shy. You can sign up for my once-a-month newsletter using the link provided so that you can have all the Wrinkled Runner resources from the past month all in one place. I also have opened up my virtual coaching in addition to coaching one-on-one with those in the Buffalo, New York area. So head to my coaching page on the Wrinkled Runner website, which I will, of course, link to, and check out how we may be able to work together. Until next Monday, thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the run.